Alright, part 3 of our April Fool's Day in-depth discussion. Where we left off is they were all accusing each other. The token actors turned on each other, arguing like, "Oh, I think that you're the killer." And then they're like, "I'm the bitch from Friday the 13th Part 2." Is like, "You guys really think Muffy invited us here to kill us?" Anyway, then Muffy was like, "I'm going to my room." She's all tripping balls. You don't know what's going on with her.
Alright, so then this is where everyone's starting to lock up the house. And then it cuts to the freaking 80s chick. The
slut.
The 80s slut with freaking the guy with the sunglasses.
She wants to leave. She's tripping out.
So
she's the one who fell in the well.
She's packing up, and the guy's like, "Come on." He's got like the mask, like freaking.
That's when they do the faucet gag.
Oh yeah, the faucet gag happens on her, and she's like, "All right, I want to leave."
That's so lady.
It's hilarious too, but freaking no. And then freaking she walks away down the hall.
Sunglasses, no. Chaz sunglasses is like, "Everyone's dead, but you don't see me running around with like a chicken with his head cut off."
Oh yeah,
he's like, who puts that
good
in a movie script?
He's like, "It's all good."
Are you serious?
And then freaking she walks down the hall like 10 feet.
No, he starts playing with the mask and.
Oh yeah, and then he lays on the bed.
This is his death scene. Yeah, she
walks up the hall 10 feet. And then he doesn't even scream. He gets freaking castrated. He gets his balls taken away, like his penis, and he doesn't even scream. She just comes back down the hall, and he's laying there on the bed, like covering his penis. And you're like, okay, yeah, no screaming from him when he got killed. Yeah, right.
And you're like, wow, he got his manhood taken away.
Alright, so then she screams, and then the people...
He took it like a man because he didn't even make a sound.
And then the couple in the attic... No, and then it cuts to the couple in the attic, and they're like
instant shock.
No, the couple in the attic are finding like the dolls, like the voodoo dolls, and they're like, okay, but then they hear the scream, and they run down from the penis guy getting killed.
Yeah, it's the token flashlight filler in the attic, and then the mullet guy disappears because he goes down. He's like, "I see the sheriff shooting flares," and he's just like yelling for like Harvey and he's like, "Harvey called."
No, it cuts to the doorknob gag again with freaking
yeah,
the blood dripping. No,
yeah, she runs down.
No, they run downstairs and they go into like the hallway, and then it's freaking like Biff or someone hanging.
No, it's the hick guy hanging.
Oh yeah, it's a hick rich guy hanging. It's like, oh
yeah,
it's a tight shot,
just like the cover, the noose hanging in the room.
So then freaking they run down to the docks.
They meet back up, and then they
run down to the docks because they saw a flare, because they run down and then they find Biff's body right there hanging. So they get down to the docks, and then freaking they're looking for the key. And this part makes no sense because they're looking for the key.
Total script convenience.
They totally. This is a total script, you can tell, because then they're looking for the key. The chick would be horrified. She wouldn't take time.
Complete pitch dark.
She picks up a piece of paper and she's like, "Oh, look at this. Read this." And they're taking time to read it, even though they don't find.
She finds a single piece of paper.
There, they're like, okay, if we saw the flares, they'd be flipping out.
She finds a single piece of paper and
she's
starts
like,
reading it.
It's Muffy. She's crazy. Oh no, it's Buffy.
No, she has a twin sister named Buffy.
No, so then they run back up. They run back up to the house, and they're like, "Oh, the doors are all shut."
No, they're like, "What the?" She escaped from it.
No, and then they're like, "Oh, it's a Michigan basement. We can go through the window."
No, they finally get. Someone finally thinks about getting in a boat and leaving. And they're like, "Oh, the keys are back up at the house." They would have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, the keys are back up at the house. So they go through the basement.
People were dying.
Okay, this part's another script. Like you can tell, they freaking are in the basement. They would go back up to the kitchen to get the keys, but they're in the basement. They're looking around the basement. And they go to the freaking like wood burner stove, and it's like Mom's clothes. And they're like, and you're like, okay, why the hell did they go to the freaking stove? They wouldn't.
Totally scripted.
Total script.
They just followed the camera view.
Makes me freaking sick. Nah, I'm just kidding. Alright, let's go. So freaking, so then they go upstairs and look for the key in the kitchen. And they're all looking around. And then it's freaking Muffy with like the knife.
Hold up, no, it says
hold up, go on, what happens?
So they sneak back, go into the gas stove, and she's like, "It's Buffy's clothes." And then they see like two, like their heights on the wall.
Oh no, it's the Andrew Jackson picture hanging up again with the eyes, and they're like, oh, and they're scared,
and, it's a prop
and they go up to it and they take it off.
It's like
they take the picture off, and it's like Muffy's head, and they're like, oh, and then they run.
They're like, Buffy's psycho sister took over the house,
and it's tight as hell, and they're flipping out, and then the boyfriend gets locked.
This story's deeper than
the boyfriend gets locked inside the closet or something, locked inside one of the rooms, and she runs away.
No, they run into the kitchen looking for a weapon, like opening empty drawers.
Yeah, he gets locked like in the room or something. So then Muffy shows up. But actually, at this time, it's Buffy. So go on. So with the knife, and she's like,
Totally fake.
And then the bitch finally runs away.
No,
and
it's like slow mo, and she.
Oh yeah, it's slow mo, and she runs into the freaking. No, it's slow mo showing the guy. She opens the.
No, it's all in
she
one
opens the
take,
living
and
room.
she's like trying to dodge her. And
She
they're,
opens
like,
the living room. And it's all of them like
chicken.
playing cards, like totally looking at like no, they're total extras at this part. They're looking like extras, like fake
you're
talking.
Like, you got me.
They're fucking fake talking.
You're like, of course, they ended 80s style. No one died.
Oh, and at this time, she realized that's a gag, April Fool's, and then freaking no. And then it's the boyfriend's still acting like in the room, like,
Oh, yeah.
No, and then freaking
And
the
the-
other guy, the guy who freaking
gets his head smashed.
who gets
at
his
the
head
dock.
smashed at the docks, he shows up and walks up to him, and the guy's like, the boyfriend, and then he takes off his fake prop like eye and like
Bunch of
smacks,
things happen
no, he
here
smacks
at the
on his
ending.
face. He's like, it's freaking hilarious.
Alright, just stick with us. A bunch of things happen here as she explains the whole story to us. It was a fake knife that she was using.
Fake knife, blah blah, and they also show the prop.
No, then it's Buffy's speech about her inheritance. She's like, in order to get an inheritance, but I wouldn't be able to afford the taxes, so I came up with this brilliant idea to turn this into a bed and breakfast.
bed and breakfast, but also with the scare, who done it
With a classic
tactic.
whodunit weekend theme.
So then you're like, okay, and she's like,
Like,
I
who
had
the
to
hell would
figure
pay
out.
for that?
She's like, I had to do it on someone, my friends here, so I checked it out. And you're like, oh great.
She picked out all her loser friends to come to the island for that weekend, and only gave them like 10 bottles of champagne.
I don't know, and then
That's
no,
all
then
she
she
gave
wheels
up.
no, then she wheels out 10 bottles of Cristal, and freaking they're like, wow, you're gonna drink all that?
No, and they're like, the old guy's alive, everyone's
No,
alive.
then yeah, then the freaking
Herbie's
no,
dad's
then all
alive.
the sheriff and like the old freaking
Your friend's drunk dad's
No,
alive.
then the guy who runs the ferry, everyone just like shows up out of nowhere in the scene, just standing there, and they're like, yeah, I'm a part of the gang.
Oh, this is such a movie ending.
It was
Hey,
like,
the
okay,
whole
what the
cast
fuck?
get in, everyone survives. It's like a Disney ending or something. Only in the
Okay.
80s.
And then freaking also, it cuts back to
No, and she's like, but we had fun, huh?
yeah, no, and then
Who
it
the
cuts
hell
to
wrote
Muffin,
that?
and then she freaking gets the no, she goes upstairs wasted with like the
No,
crystal.
then Biff's like, I nearly shit my pants.
Oh yeah, he's like, I nearly shit my pants when I was hanging up.
No,
on the
then it
snake."
goes into an upbeat 80s music. Like, it gets
No,
even
they're all
more
partying
campy.
like freaking like it's the Stanley Cup Red Wings, and they're freaking like pouring the Cristal like,
On Muffy's head.
and Biff's like pouring the freaking
There's
Cristal.
like no alcohol in the house and they're wasting
No,
like
he's
all
pouring
the
it
bottles.
into the prop's mouth, and it's like going all over the carpet. All right.
Like, it was probably not.
Okay, so then
alcoholic
cuts to
champagne.
Muffy going upstairs, going to bed. She like drops the Cristal.
No, and it's like cuts to the old guy and he's like hitting on the nerd. He's like, he's like,
Oh
crouched.
yeah,
It
no, yeah. The
implies that he was
sober,
like, he
yeah, the
hooked up
sober
with her or
chick's
something.
like getting hit on by like the freaking boat
He's
guy.
like leaning in.
Like, and they're drinking a little bit of champagne.
You know he's got a spliff like in his ashtray.
You know he's got freaking syphilis. Alright, let's go. So
So
then
it
no,
cuts to Muffy going into her room.
and freaking she freaking finds the present.
No, she finds a Jack in a Box, and then no, she drops the. She's drinking a bottle like she's wasted, like she's like
Drops
tipsy.
on her freaking
She
nightstand.
drops the bottle and is like pouring
opens
out.
up her gift, and then it freaking does the scare thing. And
She's
then,
like, "Oh, you
and
guys."
then, no, then the sober.
She's like, "Oh, shucks."
No, and then the sober chick freaking shows up behind her and slits
She
her
pops
throat.
out of nowhere
with, like,
and
a
slits
fake-
her throat.
And then she like kisses her.
No,
Like,
it's pretty tight.
and kisses her
No.
implies that she's a total lesbian. She's lesbian gay.
Oh, and Muffy hooks up with no one. Neither does the nerd. So you're like, "Oh my god, they're lesbians." That's what it implies. And you're like, "I want to see the freaking makeout scene."
Alright, and then freaking she goes upstairs. No.
So I stayed through the whole credits. No, then it rolls the credits.
No, and then it cuts to too bad, you're crazy. Too bad, you're loony as hell.
That song
And it's like that
is-
freaking retired song, and you're like, wow.
Who likes that?
Okay, anyways, let's do the wrap up here. What'd you think of it, JB, in 2005?
I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Pretty low there. I give it, Mr. Creepshow and I would give it a freaking,
Maybe a 7.8.
I'd give it an 8.
No,
It's freaking pretty good. It's a pretty good story.
Even
It's
though
fine.
that no one dies and there's no gore, they
no,
do
it's
find a way to
still-
do
It's a
gore
good thriller, you know,
because
it's good thriller gore.
oh,
thing,
and the
you know.
whole cast was like, oh, we weren't in on it too. We kind of learned halfway. Like they would have been able to orchestrate that whole thing.
Shout out to Darnell Weeks. Alright. What else? Check
So the
out.
whole cast was in on it. like I was gonna say.
Alright, well, it was pretty dope. Alright, well, check out our other horror movie reviews, in-depth discussions. Check out our collections. Support horror fans. What do you guys say?
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. And subscribe. Peace out.